Hey guys, it's Dave here from Creative Path Films, and in today's video, we're talking about C-stand safety. A little while ago, we put out a video on how to use a C-stand, and in the process of making that video, I was so preoccupied with making the B-roll look good and making sure everything fit within the frame nicely that I made an absolutely classic error that I want to correct. In addition to that, there are a few other C-stand safety tips that I'd like to add into this video, so kind of consider this one a part 2 to the previous video, which if you haven't seen, you can check out right here. All right, let's get into it. Now, the first safety issue that I want to address is when you want to fly something out and extend the arm out. So say you've got a flag or something like that, you want to get it in there, flag a lens from a flare or cut some spill onto an actor's head, something like that. And what you need to do is you need to fly this arm out. Now, depending on your setup, sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you can't fly the arm out the entire length and you're left with this overhang. And you can't get this up above head height because of the restrictions of your shot. And what this creates is a very dangerous hazard for people to walk into. They can hit their body into it if, you know, your flag is set down low. And this is at eye height, God forbid, this is the most dangerous situation because someone could actually take an eye out on this steel bar. So how do we address this situation? Well, there's a couple of ways. The first is with something like this, which is just a simple tennis ball, and we've cut a slot into one side of it. And what that allows you to do is you can just slot that onto the end of the arm. Now, this serves a couple of functions. One, it's very soft. So if someone runs into that, it's not going to hurt nearly as much and you're much less likely to take an eye out than if they ran into the bar. And it also is very bright, it's fluorescent. So people are much more likely to see the bar than they would be without that on there. So they're less likely to run into it. The other thing that I've seen people do is use one of these. This is just an empty water bottle, and simply slot that onto the end of the bar as well. Now, you ideally would have something a bit brighter than this, maybe a yellow bottle or a green bottle, but you could also, if this is all you've got, you could wrap some fluoro tape around it, and this is gonna do the same thing. It's gonna cushion that blow, and it's gonna make the bar more visible. Now, the next safety issue that I want to address is this setup here, where you've got a small light mounted directly onto the end of the gobo arm. Now, how and why is this unsafe? Well, if you have a look at a baby pin on a regular light stand, what you'll notice is that there is a recessed section on this pin. And what happens is when you tighten down the screw, this is locked. It can't be pulled off without undoing that screw again. Now compare that to the end of the C-stand arm. You'll notice that there's no recessed section here. There's nothing to stop this from being able to slide on and off. And if that screw gets bumped or knocked or something like that, this can fall off, a light can hit someone in the head, and that can be a very compromised situation. So what's the solution? Well, now I'm going to show you the correct way to mount a light like this onto the end of a gobo arm. So the correct way to set your C-stand is like so, to have your grip head on the end that you want to fly out. And that's where these guys here comes into play. So this is a baby pin, and this one here is by Kupo. This is their long double pin, or this one here is either by Manfrotto or Impact, I'm not sure. And this is a slightly shorter one, which is a slightly different design. So with these ones, these do have that recess inside of it, so they're much safer to use. So what we want to do is we'll mount this vertically into the grip head like so, and then you want to set it ever so slightly outwards to the right. So this is adhering to the right hand rule, so righty tighty, lefty loosey. And what this is doing is the weight of the light will actually tighten the grip head rather than loosen it if it was set the other way. Now what we do is we simply take our small light, mount it onto the baby pin, tighten it down, and then set it however you want. So if you want it angled that way, or you want to adjust the tilt, pan, etc., set the light how you need it, and then you're good to go. One more thing in a setup like this is you don't want to use any big or heavy lights. You don't want to overload this arm here because you can bend the arm and that can damage your C-stand, and you're more likely for the whole thing to topple over and cause an accident. So only use small and lightweight lights in a setup like this. So the last thing that I want to touch on is how to shot bag a C-stand correctly. Now, normally you wouldn't do what I'm about to do. You wouldn't put a bag on the small leg because it's not the weight bearing leg. You always want that to be the big leg. But for the sake of the demonstration, This is what you don't want. You don't want part of the shot bag resting on the ground because you don't have the full weight of the bag holding the stand down. Instead, what you want is you want to make sure that no part of the bag is touching the ground and the bag is fully suspended. Now, if you had a different stand base or an even larger shot bag than this might be an issue even on the big leg. So how you fix it is you can set the shot bag at a slight angle like that. And in those instances, this is the correct way to bag a C stand. You can also do this on light stands as well, which are a bit lower to the ground. Well, there you have it, guys. That is our little addition on C stand safety. If you learned something valuable today, make sure to let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more tutorials just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.